Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. To my right, I have the American Lucas, all the way from the US of A. Lucas, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Actually, no, that's a lie. I'm not fantastic, but we're getting through. Just trying to not get stressed out about the transfer window. But we move on.
And all the way from Hornchurch, Romford based, Mitchell, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks.
You know what I mean? Well, Mitch, I'll start with you, mate. West Ham over the last few days have decided just to lose target after target after target to Brentford. Your thoughts?
So I think if you was to say like every transfer window, I've been very vocal about the way we do things. Very frustrated. But this is the first one where I've just I think I've just had enough, and I've had enough of two. I don't actually put. You know what? It doesn't actually anger me as much as it used to. I kind of, if I don't tweet about something, then I feel alright. I feel a bit calmer. But if I tweet about something, there'll always be one reply that will disagree with my opinion, and then
Yeah.
I'll be a bit angry about it, sitting down or out and about or whatever, and I'll see that reply and I'll be like, fucking yeah, you can't you're fucking talking shit. And like it does wind me up that there's such a clash, unfortunately, in the West Ham fan base at the moment, because for me, there's a big problem with the fact that we're taking too long for the targets. We've got these targets that we're looking at and these supposed targets, and these are true targets according to X.
Yeah.
And they seem to be dropping like flies. Everyone seems to be going now to different places. And some of our fans think that's all right because it's early in the window and so other players will come along. I just think that's just such a fucking pansy bollocks way to look at it. Yeah, I think it's just fucking stupid, mate. It doesn't matter how early in the window it is. And also, I'm seeing people say, "Oh, this is a great window already." I saw yesterday someone tweeted,
Yeah.
"Oh, we signed two superb quality players already. It's a great start to the window already." And I thought, hold on, we've just fucking took five players off.
We haven't
fucking
actually
wage bill.
signed. When you look at it, we haven't signed anyone. We haven't improved the squad.
Yeah.
We've just upgraded the squad.
Ariola obviously was here last year. Yeah, he's a good signing. But if you look at it on paper, we needed more players last year. We've added one, really. And then we've lost five. So we still need a lot more players, at least. We still need another 5 players, really. And they're all our main targets look like they're going. Broya looks like, well, he's on trial with Chelsea in a minute. Fuck knows how long that's going to take.
5 minutes ago, I just see it. Before I went live, Newcastle in the frame. I want to get to this, yeah?
I don't listen to bollock sources, though. I'm sick of listening to bollock sources. And one bollock source comes out and everyone goes, oh, it's coming.
Well,
it winds me up.
Is that your fun time face?
Not quite.
Anyway,
listen,
I want to get to this. Lewis Potter is a terrible blow. Keane Lewis Potter is possibly joining Brentford. It's reported for 16. I'll say it again, £16 million. Lucas, Adam Hickey, your man, £14 million is going to Brentford. Discuss. 30 million for the Bear.
The Aaron Hickey one frustrates me the most because, of course, we really need a striker or depth at striker. But I've always been adamant that I think not replacing Cresswell, but like trying to find someone young, experienced, and arguably just as good as him in the current moment, I think is most important. No, I'm not saying Aaron Hickey is.
I think he's better than Cresswell now.
He's better at getting up the pitch and moving his legs and defending. But his final ball is a bit shit, in my opinion. But I digress. It is infuriating losing both of them. I think Keane Lewis Potter, I'm upset about that one, but I think Brentford's a better move for him in the long run just because he is going to get a lot of playing time, I think, like straight away, more than he would get here. But, of course, he would get European action with us. Aaron Hickey, that one upsets me the most because I really do think, especially for the price that he's going for to Brentford. And Brentford, it doesn't really make too much sense because is he better than Rico Henry right now? Is Rico Henry on the move? Like, I don't know what's going on with that. But
that's
would he suit
interesting.
the back five? Would he
That's
suit
it.
5 at the back?
Joe,
Yeah.
what? That's a bloody good point. I never thought of it like that. Could Rico be going somewhere?
And if he is, I want some of that. I need some of Rico Henry.
I'd take Rico Henry.
But I have no idea what his value would be. I looked on because I had what I just told you. I had that thought yesterday. I was like, if Aaron Hickey's coming in, is he really going to Brentford to sit behind Rico Henry? Like, even though Rico Henry obviously right now is better than Aaron Hickey, like, is he really going there to sit behind Rico Henry? And then I looked at his transfer value. It's about £18 million, but surely Brentford would probably ask like close to 40 or 35, something like that, because Rico Henry is a bit of a baller, in my opinion. But overall, I'm quite upset about both. And I said this yesterday in our space, and I tweeted this out as well. I'm not necessarily mad about not signing anyone. It's absolutely fucking frustrating that every single one of our targets on our short list is just going away, disappearing, deteriorating. And it's like you can't help but sit back and be upset because we have a history of not having the biggest short list of transfers and targets. So, I mean, that's probably the most frustrating bit, and it's just like dominoes falling. It's like one after another, and hopefully there's more targets that we don't know about. But I mean, everyone basically knows most of our targets, and I think 4 of them already are out the picture.
Easily, yeah. I would have to agree with you there, Lucas. Before I get my thoughts on this, because I'm very, very pissed off with the way West Ham are conducting themselves, so stay tuned and wait for my little rant on that. Mitch, £30 million for Aaron Hickey and Keane Lewis-Potter.
Keane Lewis-Potter, decent player. However, I'm not too bothered about him. I would have signed him, but I still think in that left wing position, I think there's a lot of good players out there nowadays, especially in the foreign leagues, that could do as good a job, or if not better.
Right.
Aaron Hickey, though, it's a bit tough. Left back is probably the hardest position to get in football. Like, you see it every year. Like, Man City have been struggling with the left back position for years now. If they saw a world class left back, they would have got it. But there ain't many out there. You've got to find the good ones and try and make them to that top class.
Let me ask you this, though, Mitch. Let me ask you this before I let you carry on. We signed Vlasic last year for his potential, supposedly. Don't worry, he's going to come good. And I know people got their mixed views on Vlasic, but Vlasic has been a major flop at West Ham. To go and get Keane Lewis-Potter out of Hull, who's a 21, I think he is, year old, right? Aaron Hickey for £30 million. For me, that's not only good business because they can come in and do a job. They can do a job.
Less than that.
They've got potential to be reinvested in the future. They become phenomenal. West Ham could go and sell him like for 50, 60 million a pair. Let's be honest. So I don't understand it. I'll let you carry on, mate, and what you want to say, then I'm going to get right into it because I'm not best pleased.
I completely agree. They would have been, if we signed them both, I would definitely have been really happy with the signings.
Yeah.
Especially Hickey, I think that's a massive loss for his age. How old is he? 21?
He just turned 20.
Or 20. I mean, that's just it'd be a superb sign. He's a first teamer. He plays international now as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Does, yeah. Scotland.
So I would thought for me it was a no-brainer. For me now, I think Luca Pellegrini could do a decent job, but I don't think he's proven enough. For me, the only left-back position out there really that I might just have a little look in other potential good left-backs. David Ram, he's not going to come to us. I think we need to stop talking about that one. Moyes ain't going to spend it. It's already been confirmed. The one for me is Tagliafico for me, mate. I just think 29, played in Champions League, done a great job over the last few years. Cheap as chips, would not hurt our transfer budget.
But I just don't understand where the young players are, though, Mitch. Where are these young players?
I know, but 29 ain't too bad. Look, I think with how hard the left back position is, I think now that we've missed out on Aaron Hickey, who else is there really out there? I think Tagliafico, with the considering that we need such an overhaul this summer in terms of squad depth and signing, a first team left winger, a first team midfielder, a first team striker, it's going to be hard to find a top quality left back at a young age. Aside from David Ram, he would fit the bill perfectly. So maybe if we spent more of the budget on the striker position, midfield position, and left wing position this summer, and then got Tagliafico in, fucked Masuaku off, have Cresswell back up, pay Tagliafico, and then maybe look at a new younger left back in January or the summer next. And Tagliafico would do a great job for the next few years.
Well, Tim's saying he's off to Lyon. If that's Tagliafico,
and Brian are also interested.
Pardon?
I think he's off to Lyon, mate.
Is he?
Tagliafico.
I thought he just signed Emerson, didn't he?
I'm not too sure, but the way I look at it with this, just to get my point across on this, is I'm absolutely angry with West Ham this one, big time. I don't want to go in on them because I look at West Ham, and for me, you've been chasing a left back for a long time. You've got Aaron Hickey sitting in Bologna, who's basically, let's be real here,
just do it.
He's took a big risk going abroad. He's been pretty good abroad, hasn't he? Let's be honest. Like, as a player, the Keane Lewis Potter one, I am very, very pissed off. I know how good that geezer's going to be. Brentford don't sign shit players. Let's get this right here. Right? When Brentford sign players, they sign players on a data program. Do you know what I mean? They ain't even got a reserve, an under-23 team. So they know what they're doing, Brentford, with like analysing players and all that. And they've signed 2 players there for £30 million. And we are chasing a 29-year-old attacker who was on the bench for Manchester United that has been absolutely ruining their transfer window for the last 2 years. And if we do go for Luca Pellegrini, I'm not going to be happy, mate. But I'm going to ask you this, Mick, because you just said something to me just a minute ago, yeah? If West Ham don't sign a left back and Ben Johnson goes back there, like we have discussed on this channel numerous occasions, that to me is a failure for Moyes and the board. Sick. And that could happen. Let's be honest.
Oh, don't even want to think about that. It just limits our attacks. It will limit our attack so much. Plus, it will limit Rice going forward as well, and halt, his progress, because it will have to track back a lot more. Because fucking, what the fuck? Someone's put a dick emoji in the comments. I don't know if that's on purpose or not.
Never mind. You know what I mean?
Marla, to be fair, I forgot about him. Joachim Marla, or maybe you pronounce his fucking name.
Yeah.
Marla. Yeah, I'd take him. Marla, yeah. Actually, I did think about him. He'd be probably the next one in line for me, if not Tagliafico.
So let's have a think. Obviously, we lost out on Danjuma the other day. I haven't spoke to you boys. I spoke to you boys on the space about the Danjuma situation, but we haven't done it on here, right? Obviously, the other day it came out with Danjuma. He's not coming to West Ham because he's not a Moyes type player. Lucas, well, where the hell are we going with this? Because it's like Danjuma on one hand is a player who's destroyed Bayern Munich on his own in the Champions League, and on the other hand, we're going for Jesse Lingard, who, let's be honest, is fucking up our transfer window, right? And I just want this to be over now. It's like I've never known it with West Ham in all my life of supporting this club. Us chasing a player for a year, keep getting rejected by a player for a year, keep going in for a player that keeps rejecting us, and a player dictating to the club, on our transfers. Because that is what's coming out.
But Lingard isn't taken over. It's Moyes. Now,
that is another thing. That is another issue that I do have. And I did see a comment the other day. I want to try and get your thoughts on the Danjuma thing quickly, and then I want to get to Moyes. I'll start off with you, Mitch. Danjuma, take it away.
I was lost for words, to be honest. I think I'm trying not to tweet anywhere near as much as I said earlier, but on that thing, I really did have to tweet it back because it really did wind me up. And I just came into spaces, I spoke about it. I just think, you want to move to the next level. He's not the kind of Moyes signing. Moyes like signings for 25 million. He's got this thing. I don't think it's the board. I think it's actually him where he's got this thing where he don't want to spend too much money on players because he thinks it's going to be a risk. I think he's got this cut-off point at like 35 million where if he spends more than that, if he talks of spending more than that, he just can't do it because he likes to buy players and coach them and improve them. But it sickens me that we're fucking. Oh, not us, not Board, not Newman. For me, this is solely on Moyes. Moyes is the one that wants Lingard. You think about the Board. The Board ain't going. No, Moyes. We want Lingard. We're going to keep chasing Lingard.
And we're going to get to Moyes, right? Because I am 100% agree with you on this one, right? I really am with you, and I don't like it when the fan base say you can't criticise David Moyes. This geezer has done 2 good years at West Ham. Listen, but them 2 years could be ruined if he don't sort himself out and take the ball by the horns. I just want to get to Lucas on Danjuma quickly, and then we're going to talk about Moyes because there's quite a lot that we're going to all have to have our say on. Luke, go on, man.
I think it's an overall failure from everyone involved except for Rob Newman. So it is. Mitch does make a good point, and I will echo that Moyes just is not comfortable paying more than £35 million for a player, and it is a bit annoying when the board suggests players because most of the time they just don't fucking work out. But and it doesn't help when, like, I get where Moyes is coming from, and it's his fault as well that he's made Lingard his primary target, and because he's made Lingard his primary target, he's absolutely fucked Danjuma straight off. And but then again, it's our board's fault because I'm pretty sure I heard this on Twitter. I didn't hear it for sure, but someone said that they broke that Danjuma, like his temper, or not temper, his attitude problem. Moyes didn't like it on Talk Sport. And we all know, like, David Sullivan, Talk Sport, Jim White, all that jazz. Like, it's a complete collapse all around because David Sullivan probably opened his fucking mouth when he didn't have to. It got leaked. And it's just an overall failure from everyone except Rob Newman. Rob Newman presented a decent target. Moyes doesn't fancy him. Moyes tells Sullivan to either go fuck himself or I don't like his attitude. David Sullivan thinks he's a good football mind. He could have leaked that opinion to whoever, and now we're basically fucked if we don't get Lingard.
That's right. But, right, I'm going to have to agree with the board on this one. I fucking hate the board, but I've got to agree with them, and this is where we're going to lead on to Moyes, yeah? For me, the Danjuma situation, if Jesse Lingard's not about at West Ham, and he's signed somewhere else, Danjuma is signed at West Ham. There's no 2 ways about it, right? There's no... Yeah, 100%, Mitch. 100,000%. For me, this has been this is the scenario that I have come up with. I believe that the board have looked at Moyes and said, Moyes, what is going on with Jesse Lingard? We need a decision from this geezer, right? Because let's be honest, Jesse Lingard, as a free agent, can wait for another 2 months to sign for someone. If he really wanted to, he can go have a party in the 2 months because he's a free agent. And I believe the board have turned around and said, listen, we need a decision on this because otherwise we've got to look elsewhere. And I believe David Sullivan and the board were offered Danjuma. And they've said, cool, you know what? Let's go and have a look at Danjuma. Right? He's been offered to us, Champions League player, ex-Premier League with Bournemouth. And I believe that they've come to Moyes and said, we've been offered Danjuma. And Moyes has said, no, I don't want him. I want Jesse Lingard. And it is this factuation with this fucking man that is costing us at present. And I bet I'm not far off the truth there. Yeah?
Well, you're right.
Because,
you're right. I think you're right. I don't know about the thing where if we don't sign Lingard, we sign Danjuma. I don't think that happened.
Me neither. It's completely
I think we would have done if we had no one else.
Yeah, if Lingard say didn't exist, and we actually pursued Danjuma, then I think that transfer could definitely have happened.
Yeah. So I'm very pissed off with Moyes, and now we're going to get into it with Moyes, right? Now I keep seeing this that you can't criticise David Moyes at all for what he's done. You can, because if we go backwards, and we end up being that team that we was 3 years ago, let's be honest, a lot of the fan base are going to be like, I don't want to see this. Like, we never left Upton Park to be that small team in Stratford being a fucking like, oh, we're just going to like accept it. West Ham moved from Upton Park to Stratford to play Champions League football, European football, and be a contender in the top 8 of the Premier League. Let's get that categorically clear here, yeah? And when people keep saying about Moyes, David Moyes has done great things, don't get me wrong, but I see this on a chat the other day, and I'm going to ask you, and I want people in the chat to comment also. When does Moyes' credibility start to run out? Because for what he's done great, but when do you look at him and go, you're starting to fuck this up a little bit, mate, because you're chasing players who don't want to know?
So this is the thing, Moyes. I think with how Moyes has done, it's almost impossible to get rid of him or give him the elbow, because he's done so well with the squad. He's done so well at getting the best out of the players and coaching them. I do think he's really poor in the transfer window, though, and I will say that. And just I just want to cover a few things here. So the first one is, it doesn't matter if we do well next season and say we get 7th or 6th next season, and everyone be going, oh, look at all the reaction, the massive reaction everyone had in the transfer window in the summer. Everyone going well over the top. It's got nothing to do with that, because if we say we signed one more player this summer, and obviously that's nowhere near enough. Say we signed, I don't know, fucking Broya, and that was the end of the window. Everyone will fume in, and rightfully so. There'll be a few people defending Moyes, saying, oh, you know, Hickey slate him, he's got us well. And then we have a good season next season, finish 6th. And people say, see, much ado about nothing. That would infuriate me more than anything, because we've got a chance this summer to really push on. So if we say we was to finish 6th next season, which could possibly happen with the squad we've got now, which ain't good enough, but Moyes could do that. What's to say that if Moyes didn't sign 3 more players this window, which we should do, that he could get 5th or 4th next season? Do you know what I'm saying? People settle for the minimum and settle for happiness, when I want, and I think a lot of us, not enough of us in my opinion, in the fan base, want more than just settling for good. Like, oh, we got Conference League.
I could settle for good. Listen, I could settle for good.
I would settle for good, but I want more. So, like, people say, "Oh, it doesn't matter. We didn't sign anyone in January, transfer window, because we still got Conference League at the end of it. It doesn't matter, because we could have got Europa League,
I could
or
settle
Champions
for
League.
good, though, Mitch. I could settle for good if it was at Upton Park. I could go, you know what?
Yes,
I could go,
I agree.
I'll settle for that all day long. Moyes is the Messiah. Everything's wonderful, amazing. But we left Upton Park 6 years ago, to move to the next level. And there is teams around us, your Aston Villas, your Newcastles, who are going out, spending money and improving their sides. And we have signed 2 players, really, that have only been an upgrade to the squad, not benefited the squad. A guard is a replacement for Issa Diop. We all know it as fans. If you don't, you're blind. Ariola was here last year. That was an obvious signing. Right? We got rid of David Martin. Randolph's probably going to go. We've got Fabianski. You're going to sign Ariola. So it's a no-brainer. Do you know what I mean? But we've not covered a left-back for years. We've not signed a striker in 18 months. We are massively short in midfield. And someone said it in the chat the other day, I don't know whether it was on the space or on here, that when we play a playoff, we've got no Declan Rice for 2 games. So at present, we've got 1 central midfielder, and that's a man that you don't like. So we've got a bit of an issue going on at West Ham. And the thing that upsets me more than anything, and I know I'm going on into a passionate rant, is I fucking want more than that. I want us to go out and go bang, bang, bang. And I look at Spurs, and a year ago, we was all laughing at Spurs because they're in the conference. And they've gone out, and fair enough, people can say about Richarlison, but Richarlison's going to benefit their team. There's no 2 ways about it. And
everyone laughs at the price. The price for me is ridiculous. For me, Richarlison isn't too great, but he's good for the squad. It will benefit the squad. They've got Basuma in, they've got Perisic in. They're improving the squad. Doesn't matter about how much they're spending, even though it is, to me, well over what he's worth. They're still improving, and it doesn't matter, because they're going to do much better next season, and they're going to get Champions League minimum, in my opinion. They've got Conte, 100%. A world-class manager. And I just look at us, and I just think, let's fucking do something. I'm seeing everyone around us do something. Arsenal are having a great window. Man United look like they're going to sign De Jong, which could solve all the midfield problems. We don't know. We've got Newcastle going to be right up our ass next season. We've got Brentford, who could, making good signings and building on what they're having. They could be a fucking good side next season. We don't know what's going on. Who else? Fulham, actually. I'll tell you what, Fulham could be a surprise next season. They're making good signs as well. And if, off the momentum, off of the Championship, they could really shock us and have like a honeymoon season. And what winds me up the most is that we can't criticise Moyes. And what winds me up even more than that is the fact that people say Moyes has got a great talent ID. You can't criticise his transfers. You got to trust Moyes. When he didn't make a single fucking sign in January, and to me that was all down to him. In the summer before that, he signed fucking Kraut and Vlasic. That was on him. He wanted them to be fucking pony, both of them. Yeah, fair play. He signed Ariola as well and thingy, but he still spent 35 million on Vlasic. You got lucky with the fact he did turn out to be 35 million, but that means fuck all because he still was willing to pay 35 million.
Yeah,
and then before that, Ben Rama is 10 times as good a player as Josh King. And he wanted Josh King at the time. And actually, David Sullivan and Gold, which was wrong at the time, they took over the transfer and said, no, we want Ben Rama. And we did get Ben Rama in the end.
But let me be honest here, yeah? Right? Now, something that sort of dawned on me with the Danjuma thing, I'm going to bring Lucas in there, yeah? Is that it seems to me that people say about Moyes' transfer strategy and the ball getting involved, but I can see why the ball are getting involved. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're going for players who are overpaid, overhyped, yeah, and we're getting offered other players. Like you just said it there about Josh King. Where's Josh King now? Watford's is he plays for Watford, doesn't he? I don't even know where he plays anymore. Do you know what I mean? Lucas,
I think we need directors of football. I think we do. I think Zilios obviously fucked up and he made some really poor signings. I think Moyes is so good with the first team and setting us up right, but in the transfer windows, he's not made. He's very stubborn. He kind of looks at players, he knows what he wants, and sometimes that can really push off the rails. He's a very traditional manager in terms of his tactics as well, which does work as well. But when it comes to the window, you've got to be a bit more open-minded, and I don't think he's open-minded enough. So I think if Moyes could stick more to the coaching side, and we got a director of football in to work with Newman and the board, then I think that would benefit us a lot more.
What makes me laugh? We've got more coaching staff than we have strikers at this club. It's just ridiculous. Even Sonny Perkins, that we'll probably get onto in a little while. But Lucas, what do you make of this with Moyes? Because I know we done a space the other night. You was on it, and there is mixed vibe at the minute. People will not criticise Moyes at all, and then people will look at it and go, "This Jesse Lingard thing's getting out of hand."
Yeah, I mean, I don't think. I mean, obviously, if there's people out there, well, not if you think you can't criticize Moyes because we've overachieved or done well, that's just ridiculous. Because no one's perfect. Like there's something always to be critiqued, and I mean, I don't think he really deserves too much criticism until we, let's say, finish bottom half. Until we fall out of the top 10. I don't think there's really any room to like really throw any hate towards him. Once we finish bottom half, then that will be like, okay, that's pretty shit. We shouldn't be doing that, especially after what we've done the past 2 seasons. And
Lucas, there is a difference between hate and criticise. I think you can always criticise someone, but you want us to do better.
Yeah, no.
Because criticising is just saying, what we could do. You're sort of saying, I hate Moyes.
Listen, I agree with what Mitchell just said there, yeah? I don't hate Moyes, but that's a wrong choice of word. Yeah? I think Moyes has done an absolute amazing job for West Ham. But his stubbornness of attracting players is affecting us moving forward. There's no 2 ways about it. And then, listen, I know people will come out and dig out the ball, and I'll be the first one to do it. I'll be front of the queue with every West Ham fan who dislikes the ball. And I have my reasons why. But on this one, for me, when I look at the January transfer window, that to me says all I need to know about the January transfer window in the Danjuma deal, right? Or the Danjuma situation. Because it seems like to me that the ball said to him, go out and get whoever you want, Dave, yeah? And we are back here 100%. And I was not convinced. The people said, it's the ball in January. And I thought, no, it ain't, it's Moyes, right? Because Moyes is very stubborn in like who he wants and how he wants to go about it. And it proves it the other day with the Danjuma situation. You get offered a player, you knock him back. You're chasing a player that let's be honest, as fans right now, do we know that Jesse Lingard's definitely going to sign for the club? No one knows that for certain, and no one will put money on it because no one has got an idea.
My only problem with that is how many times have the board gotten offered a player and they wanted us to sign said player and it's worked out. Like, at the end of the day, obviously Moyes seems to have the final say, and like with the whole Vlasic thing, that Vlasic, in my opinion, was not a Moyes target. It was like a dire situation. Lingard's not coming. So I don't really put that on Moyes, but he did have the final say. Who else is a board-esque signing? Wasn't Ben Rama?
I would say Ben Rama was, but I can understand what the board were doing with the Ben Rama situation.
With me, I think it's just a waste of time at the end of the day. If Moyes doesn't want a player that the board present and we get him anyway. I mean, we saw with Ben Rama. We all know, I've known Ben Rama at Brentford, and he was an absolute baller, but Moyes did not fancy him at all at the beginning. And now, the only time I want the board to like step in and do something like that is if all our options are exhausted and it's like a week before the window and they just say...
But wouldn't you agree, though, Lucas, that's a bit petty from Moyes to a point. Like, if you get offered a player, for me, you'd work with that player, right? And I'll be the first one to back Ben Rama
from that standpoint, yes, but like I don't trust the board. I don't respect their footballing mind. So like, it seems to me that Moyes wants ready-made players, right, and doesn't want to work with not one player. Ariola's ready-made. Zuma's ready-made. Yeah. Vlasic, he brought in, and like you just said, there's nothing wrong with wanting that, but this is what I'll put down to Moyes. There's nothing wrong with wanting ready-made players, but his list is too short. It needs to be expanded. That's where I can criticize him. Because like I said, I'm not mad that we're not signing any players. I'm just furious our transfer list is just getting knocked down player by player every other day. Like, I totally don't criticize him wanting players that are ready now, but the list has to be longer. So the board doesn't step in and give us not a shit player, but like someone that Moyes doesn't want and he doesn't think is going to fit the squad. Like I've opened up to Danjuma a little bit. At first, I wasn't really like too keen on it, but then I saw a couple things. I was like, you know what, he would probably benefit the squad. And then obviously all that shit happened. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like we just the list needs to be longer of ready-made players that he wants, but we seem to always have the shortest target list, like out of any club.
I'm going to ask you this, is there a bit of a power struggle at West Ham in regards?
Could you get Vinay's comment up because he's kind of said that already, and I think he's bang on what he's saying.
Is that this one, Mitch?
Yeah.
Moyes doesn't own the club. He deserves a lot of respect, but he can't have 100% control of transfers. Which is,
I think he's bang on. It says everything. Like, I think he's
this is a
way
thing.
too much control.
I agree with that, but the thing is that in my opinion, that should be a turning point where Newman should have a little say and be like, you know what, I'm going to get this guy in. Moyes is going to work with him. I don't want the board to be pushing through moves because they are fucking idiots.
I understand that. Listen, and I'm with you. They are idiots, but they're not idiots when who's more of an idiot? David Moyes for chasing a player that doesn't want to come to West Ham, or the board who have been offered a player who wants to come to West Ham? Like, listen, if Danjuma was a championship player and they wanted £37 million for it, I could understand David Moyes saying no. This is a man that went through Bayern Munich on his own. This man destroyed Bayern Munich in the Champions League.
I see what you're saying, but I am also in the minority of the whole like Jesse Lingard situation. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like I understand it with like everyone's got the love affair with Jesse Lingard, and I said it on that space the other day. If Moyes signs Jesse Lingard, he is in for the biggest scapegoating I've ever seen in my life. If he doesn't perform, biggest scapegoat, and I will have money on it with anyone. Yeah. I believe that if Jesse Lingard comes in and isn't the player that we all think he's going to be, he is going to get criticised left, right, and centre because the fan base.
He
will
wouldn't
look
be
at
anywhere
him,
near as good as his first spell.
Nah,
in my opinion,
not at all. And that is a problem, though, Mitch, isn't it? Because where the fans are going on a player for 6 months, when there's a player who's done it for a year in a different country, in Champions League regularly, and they've blown
a
him out
lot
the water.
younger.
Not younger, got sell-on value, got everything going for him, right? And he's been, let's be honest, he's been hounded a little bit, Danjuma, to a point. Because, let's be real, if someone was coming out and saying, you've got a bad attitude, you've got this, you've got that, his agent, I even messaged his agent on Twitter, and his agent come out and said, I'm not having this about my player. My player's hasn't got a bad attitude at all. Now, I know he ain't going to criticise his man, but when an agent is coming out on Twitter and saying to people, this is not on, yeah, because you're basically, how can I put it, you're painting my player in a bad light, then I can understand the reason why a lot of the fans are getting the ump. Do you know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? Lucas.
I just think with the Lingard expectations, I think ourselves we'd be letting each other down trying to think that he could replicate what he's going to do, which I've said this from minute one. If he ever comes back, I don't expect him to put up the numbers he did before, but I do expect a similar impact or what's the word I'm looking for? A stamp on the match, like be an X factor.
I know what you're laughing at. I got this every time these views. Listen, brother, I'm not Moyes out, but I'm Moyes sort yourself out. More to the point, you know what I mean? Moyes has got to sort himself out, hasn't he? I'm going to be as real as I can be, because this is why I love doing this channel with you boys and all the other lads who come on this channel, The fact of the matter is, right, Moyes has done great things at West Ham. And I did see the comment the other day on a different channel, And the comment was, when does his credibility start to slowly run out? That when you are doing that, right? So I'm going to ask both of you right now, when does his credibility start to run out? Because for me, it's up there, but unless you sort yourself out, it's going to start dropping slowly down.
His credibility runs out, I think, when we just stop moving forward. I think that's what happens. I think over like a year, if the transfers don't look good enough, and then as a result, the performances and the end result of a season isn't good enough, and we don't push forward, that's when I think his credibility starts to run out. You want a manager to come in and improve your team. We've got all the foundations really right now to improve. We've got a decent squad. We need to expand on that. We've got the resources. We've got the money. There's no excuses. He's got a director of football in. I think director or whatever, whatever Newman is. I was just thinking then, could this be why Moyes never really pushed on with Everton? He got him to a good position, but never could really push him on, because he gets this point where there's the type of signings he wants and makes never really push him on to be the top quality. Like Lingard would not push us on to be top draw. Danjuma could. I want signings to come in and push us on to be the top draw.
Can Moyes really attract top end players?
Not necessarily Moyes, but I think the club can. But Moyes' credibility is going up, so I think he can do now. I think the club draws more so than the manager.
What would be, Mitch? What would be an indicator for you is like taking a step back? So say we finished anywhere like 8th or 9th. Is that a step back?
Depends, because if we signed superb players we all wanted us to sign, and we had a season where Rice got injured, I don't know, some things happened or players got grumpy, and then we got 8th or 9th, I wouldn't be too bothered about it, and I would feel, it'd be a one-off season. However, if we didn't make the good signings, Rice stayed fully fit, or our main players stayed mostly fit for the rest of the season, and then we just finished 8th or 9th. But it also does depend on other teams, because now that Newcastle are pushing up as well, it's going to be a lot harder. They will probably take a spot above us, I think, next season. I think they could. I said something the other day. I reckon Newcastle will finish top 8 next season.
See,
definitely not.
I've always said this, just before I think
they'll finish higher than United.
Right, so do I.
Could they?
I look at this, you take Declan Rice out of West Ham. West Ham go back to being the old West Ham.
Yeah.
I've always said that. Declan Rice is a world-class player that carries West Ham in certain
I
games.
think Moyes will lose his credibility once we finish like bottom half. Like if we were to finish like 13th, 14th, that's when I think. Obviously, like I said, anyone can get this criticism. Anyone can get it, but he would deserve it fully if we finish like 13th, 14th, because I mean that's if we don't make the signings, but
right. See,
that's where I'm at.
For me, if West Ham finish anywhere in the top 10 next year, I'll be happy to a point. But I look at it, it's missed opportunities over and over again.
Should you be happy with that? Because we've got a really good opportunity to push on next season. We've got a good budget.
I agree.
We didn't sign anyone in January, so we've got a great budget, apparently.
Right.
And it looks that way. The fact
we've
been linked with players for decent money as well, there should be no reasons why. We've let players go on high wages.
And when you look at it, when you break it down, you are right, Mitch, what you're saying, yeah? Because you look at Arsenal, yeah? Arsenal, the last 2 years, have finished 8th, or 2-3 years. Ever since Moyes has been in charge, Arteta's been in charge, I think, about a month before him, yeah? They've finished 8th, and 5th. They've gone out this summer and they've gone and signed a few players, yeah, of top-end quality, yeah? Jesus is going to be a good player for them. He's a goal scorer. He will score goals for Arsenal.
Think it will.
Right? When I look at us, we're finished 6th, we're finished 7th, right? And we've not got a striker here, right, of any note. Right? West Ham should be going out and putting bids in for big players, right? Mm-hmm. But for some crazy reason, they're not. And is it because of the money? I always thought it was because of the money. I thought, it's the bold. But is it David Moyes? Is David Moyes going, no, Antonio's the man, and that is it? Can you see what I'm getting at?
And as it comes back to what I said earlier, there's this cut-off point where with Broya, we looked, apparently Moyes is happy to spend 35 million max. But Tony's there for 40, 45. And for me, that just makes so much more sense. But as I said earlier on the stream, there's this thing where I think Moyes has got inside his head where he don't want to spend more than 35 million on players. He's got this thing where that's his cut-off. For some reason, it just seems like he's got this thing about spending too much on players. He doesn't want to spend £35 million on David Raum, who for me is going to be one of the best left backs of the future, I think, personally. But on that note, I've got to go, boys. It's been a pleasure, as always.
No worries, Mitch.
I've got to jump off. Thanks, everyone, in the chat.
Thank you very
much.
So, it's me and you, Lucas. And obviously, you heard what Mitch just said there about it. It's, for me, right, I'm getting tired of these excuses from everyone at West Ham. Like, people say it's Moyes. People have criticised Newman, even I have to a point. But is Newman picking players up, saying, there you go, Dave, there's a player from such and such. Look at him. No, he's not him. It's not for him. Like, can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and how long has he been here now? Is this going to be his second year?
Who's that? Moyes?
No, Newman.
Newman's been here. Well, officially, he's been here a year, isn't he? Because he had to have gardening leave.
I mean, it's hard to build that kind of and I've said this to you. I've said it in the spaces. I've said on here multiple times as well. Like coming from Man City, his standards and expectations of trying to get players into West Ham are so completely different to Man City, and it does take time to build some sort of rapport with the manager. Like I know Newman and Moyes have known each other for quite some time, but like you don't really know a guy till you work with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or there's like an old saying, you don't live with your best friend.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of like that. So it's tough because we do expect. We don't expect a lot, but we expect some sort of impact. But at the same time, it's like, is a year a long enough rapport to like know the type of players that Moyes wants? And then obviously there's a bunch of other factors that come in, like the board, Moyes himself, Newman maybe giving unrealistic targets or not good enough targets, which I think Newman, he's a professional. I think he's giving Moyes like decent players. But like Mitch said, at the end of the day, Moyes just is never comfortable spending more than 35 million pounds on a player, which it has worked out, and it's also not helped us.
He hasn't, mate. He hasn't, and
it's a tough spot. especially for people that like the board, dislike the board, love Moyes, hate Moyes.
Yeah,
like it is a super tough and rough spot.
That's what I answer this comment
with no valid answer.
I agree, mate. I really do. It'd be interesting to see what happens in the coming days, I must admit. But James, do you think Danjuma will be a good signing for us? I think it would have been an excellent signing for us, mate. Listen, anyone who's followed me on this channel, as I always say, yeah, I'll back Ben Rama up, but he would have took Ben Rama's place, in my opinion. He runs at players. He's skillful. He's pacey. He's a ball carrier. He's what West Ham need, mate. I look at this Jesse Lingard saga. It's getting out of hand. Me and Lucas done a space the other night, and it was a powerful space, powerful on Twitter. And we had the West Ham fans on from all over the world talking about West Ham, basically. And a lot of fans are very sort of flat at the minute because they're looking at it and thinking this Jesse Lingard situation just will not go away. It just will not go away. It's like he's stopping us from progressing, basically. And my argument to that is he's holding West Ham to ransom because he can do exactly whatever he likes. You know what I'm saying? And let's be honest. If he goes and signs for someone else, then that's acceptable in his eyes. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we will see what happens with that. Obviously, Moyes and the rest of the people at West Ham have got to start getting some people in. Because the fear is that the longer this carries on, the more fear I do have. To sort of round out on the Moyes situation and what I want for next season, I want to see West Ham progress. West Ham should be acting like a Newcastle type team. Newcastle have come in and got money, fair enough. But West Ham should be acting like that. And I'm not talking about going out and spending 50, 60 million pounds on players. I'm not talking about that at all. What I'm talking about is going out and buying and taking players off other clubs who are smaller than West Ham. Like Ivan Toney at Brentford. I keep mentioning him over and over again. If you want to make a statement signing, go and get him out of Brentford, right? You know what I mean? I just don't see West Ham doing that. It's people from Burnley and Watford and these relegated teams and just cherry picking their players. Like when we should be better than that. And this is a great comment before I move on. Small team mentality. And that is what it is. Do you know what I mean? Our West Ham's mentality has got to change over from being that little old club who's just appreciating to be in the Premier League. But
let's be honest. As long as Moyes is here, he's always going to be looking at players like Burnley players, Watford players, depending on what manager they just played on.
I don't know, Lucas, because he signed Zuma, and he was at Chelsea, and like. I think he's got the money there. I don't think the board are holding money back. I think this is all on Moyes at the minute. Reason why.
Well, I agree. It's just, again, it's such a tough situation, and it's infuriating because we talked about it last night. Like, we signed 2 players and we've had about 5 or 6 leave. So we're at a -4 differential right now. And we still need about 4 or 5 more signings. And we have how many days till the first match? Like
7th of August, mate. It's the first match.
35 days is what we said yesterday. And history is just not on our side. If we have to sign 5 players or 6 players in 35 days, ain't no fucking way.
Right. So let me ask you this before I move on to the final subject of the evening with me and you, bruv. How many players are we signing before August the 7th right now?
Man.
We've signed 2. How many more are coming before then?
With the way things are going, I think we'd be lucky to sign 3 more, but we all know how things can turn because say we sign Lingard Monday or next Monday, so either July 4th or July 11th. Yeah, that could not only could that turn the tables a little bit, but obviously, like when a player like Jesse Lingard joins a club, it gets other people interested. So that could be a domino effect, but. The way things are going right now, man, it'd be hard to see 3 because I mean, every single deal we get done, it takes forever. Like And don't get me wrong, £3 million isn't a big deal, but we literally lost £3 million. We had to pay £3 million more to secure Areola because we missed a deadline to sign him. Like, that's fucking pathetic.
And yet again, who's that on? Is that on Moyes for dithering about, or is that on the board? Like, it's just, do you know what I mean? I agree with what Jones says here, yeah, before I move on to the final subject of the evening. I think it'd be two. I think Luca Pellegrini will come. I don't know why. I've just got a funny feeling he's going to.
There's got to be a left back. There has to be a left back.
There has to be. There's no two ways about it. I think he might come to West Ham. He's a sort of West Ham player. He's like the geezer who plays for Juventus. He's in their reserve team or whatever. West Ham ain't going to go out and pay big money for a left back. So for me, I think that's a no-brainer. The Jesse Lingard situation changes if he don't sign. Then I think we will go and get someone else on a panic. If he does sign, there's your two players, and that'll be us for the start of the season. But before I sort of move on, he's got to sort it out. It's getting absolutely out of hand now. We lost a left back. We lost Keane-Lewis-Potter. We lost Aaron Hickey. And we could possibly lose Broja if he don't nip this in the bud and start making a stance, basically. You know
at this point with Broja, I know I've said I think 30 million steep, but if that's who Moyes wants, we need to just slap 40 million on the table and let them know we mean business. Stop trying to dance around a figure. And again, we don't know if that's Moyes or the board. In my opinion, that would probably be the board a little bit because Moyes, that's his number one. We all say Lingard is a number one target, but I think he wants Broja the most.
Yeah, I agree. And finally, before we sort of come towards the end, Sonny Perkins has decided to leave West Ham United, and he's possibly could go to Spurs, Leeds, who knows. People are saying he's possibly been tapped up, but I think he wanted 20 grand a week or something ridiculous. Right? Now, what is going on with West Ham's academy? Because I see Oko Flex could possibly be going out on loan, which I'm disappointed in. Equa, I see in a training video the other day, looked absolutely first class. Has the Academy of Football slowly dying out, mate?
I won't say slowly dying out. It's just it really depends on like everyone's expectations. So I mean, we are obviously known as the Academy of Football, and I do like to think we still to this day have one of the better academies. But you said it many a times, and other people have said it a lot. Like, we may overrate our academy, especially in this very moment, and there are certain movements that prove that to be true. Like Okaflex going out on loan, Connor Coventry's went out on loan twice in one season. Meepo went out twice on loan in one season. Dan Chester's hasn't really played that much. Sonny Perkins didn't play that much. Like right now, we have a lot of good youngsters, in my opinion, but it's a mix between like it's just not the right time and it's like it's too big of a step. Like the only prospect right now that I thought deserved a chance was Elise because of Elise against Arsenal because of injury, and I think that would have been a perfect time to test the waters, and I think he would have done all right. And say if he was playing like shit and we made it to halftime 1-0 down or 0-0, you just sub him off and you go from there. But I don't think it's dying, but it does, and some of it has to do with Moyes as well. And again, some of the reasonings I think are good, and then some are just kind of like I don't know. It is a gamble, and it all depends on what kind of gambler you are.
Yeah, I'm not convinced, mate. I really ain't with this. I remember what Mitchell said to me. Yeah, Mitchell said to me, James, Moyes does not invest in the youth. Like Mitchell said, he listened to a podcast with Jermaine Defoe on it, and Jermaine when he was at Sunderland, I think it was, and he said, "Just don't invest in the youth, mate." He wants, and it does make a lot of sense because all he wants is proven players all the time. Like, look at the players that he signed. He signed Zuma, who's proven. Vlasic was a player that come in but wasn't his signing. I think you can tell which ones he really wants and which ones he don't. Yeah. Like Guard is a proven signing. So with the youngsters, when I look at it,
real quick, the only flop of a signing that Moyes ever made was, and I hate to say it because I do love the guy, was obviously Jordan Hugill.
Yeah, but even that was a cheap and cheerful signing, just to appease other people, and not. Yeah,
cheap, I guess, but I mean, $10 million for Jordan Hugill. My God, that was insanity. I still love Jordan Hugill, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So he says here, Kev says here, until they're wearing the shirt, I don't believe, and that's what I got to stop doing, mate. Do you know what I mean? But the thing is, it's just sort of going back to sort of the youngsters. A lot of hype was on the youngsters last season because they had one good game against Zagreb. You know what I mean? So for me, Harrison Ashby will break into the team this year. I do believe it. The fear I do have, and Mitch don't like this, but I do find it quite funny, is that it'd be Ashby, Cafal on the right, and on the left it'd be Ben Johnson and Cresswell, and that is what I can see happening if West Ham can't find a left back or don't go for a left back. So I think Ashby will come in. Conor Coventry is an interesting one because we've got no midfield, and he's a midfielder. Is he going to be given a chance, or are West Ham going to surprise us and go out and get two midfielders from somewhere?
It wouldn't be surprising to see. It would not be surprising to see, like, say Conor Coventry has a good preseason like he did last season. I would not be shocked if we kept him until we kept him, and maybe he does possibly play that first leg in the playoffs to see what he's really made of. And then, if that doesn't pan out, he goes back on loan or we sell him, yada, yada, yada. But, yeah, it is interesting. I'm a Conor Coventry believer. I've believed in this guy for quite some time now. And ever since he went out on loan last season after the preseason I was just kind of I wouldn't say in disbelief or beside myself, but I don't know. It was almost a situation what more does this guy have to do? Because, I mean, this is going to be two preseasons in a row now where we play really good competition. And last preseason we did, and he didn't boss it up by any means, but he looked really good. And I thought that he could have played some League Cup matches, maybe.
He looked better than Crown, mate.
Yeah, and he would have done better probably. He just has upside that I think would really help us in situations where we can rest players, like League Cup, early FA Cup rounds. I don't know. I don't see the harm in keeping him around because I think he wants to prove himself so bad. I don't think he cares about how much playing time he gets. Obviously, he wants to play, but I think he's tired of going out on loan to shitty championship clubs and then or to League One and just he's too good for League One. It's too good.
Are you disappointed that Sonny Perkins has left? Because you when you come over from America, you was here for a month. You went to a few under-23 games. You see him live.
At first I was, because I do think Sonny Perkins is a real talent. I went to the Derby County match that they hosted at the London Stadium, and he was just so good. He's just kind of your new type of striker. He's not bulky, he's not very strong, but he's quick, fast, gets into spaces, and he's a great finisher. And at first I was upset, but then I kind of realized, as long as Moyes is here, he really just doesn't seem like a Moyes type of striker. He wasn't really holding up play. He's a decent passer, but at the end of the day, he's just an out and out striker. He puts the ball in the net fast, doesn't hold the ball up. So now I'm not really that upset, but after reading the club statement about what could have happened, it does upset me a little bit because now that kind of falls on Sonny Perkins as kind of being maybe a bit over his head. Yeah. Or it could be his agent being a bellend, but I don't know. I would be pretty gutted if he ended up at Spurs, because then I would just yell corruption.
So would I, mate. I'll be gutted and all. I'll be devastated, really. For me, I think it's not a massive blow, but it's a blow to West Ham. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When people say about he's not a Moyes type player, I would love to know what is a Moyes type player, because
the only thing we know is hardworking and good defensively. Yeah. That's about it.
That's it. Yeah, nothing going forward basically. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up on that with Sonny Perkins. It's been a quite interesting show tonight, honestly. It really, really has. And I want to thank Mitchell for coming on, who came on earlier. And we spoke about Moyes, Lingard, Danjuma, and everything else. And I want to thank you, Lucas, for coming on also, which is always a pleasure.
Anytime.
Anyway, please do like the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. And please do hit that notification bell. I always remember now because Lucas drives it into me every 5 minutes. Yeah, we're doing all right on this channel. We're doing all right. We're cracking on. We're over a nice little milestone. But if you're new around here, please do subscribe. It goes a long way. And yeah, next week, what's going to happen next week, Lucas, before we go? Are we signing anyone or are we signing no one?
There's hasn't been enough movement or noise for me to think that there's a signing early this week. But not to get back on Lingard again. I do think if Lingard is going to be a West Ham player, I think July 11th will be the day he comes. And I do think if he's not in by July 11th, Moyes will be moved on and we can let that ship sail.
So, Mitchell has spoken. July the 11th, Lingard arrives. Do I think Lingard will arrive now? I think I don't think he comes back now. I'll be quite shocked, really, if he does come back. Because I think it would be there'd be stuff coming out saying that he's already done. Do you know what I mean? So I think he could go to Everton. He could stay in the north of England. It's ideal for him. I think he lives in like Chester or like up that way. And Liverpool's not that far from there. So, yeah. But my final thought is this. West Ham need to sign some players. I keep saying it week in, week out on this channel, and I keep saying it with all the boys. We are in a great moment, and I don't want that moment to start going down the pan. I want us to be like this for a long time. I think we deserve it as fans. I say it every single time on this channel. We deserve to be where we are, and we deserve to continually be like this. So,
you know what? A positive thought. We do get to see the boys play on Friday.
I know, and I'm looking forward to that. So that'll be interesting. But until Friday and until next week, it's bye from Lucas.
Sign some players.
Sign some players. Good night.